I do not trust you. You have lied too much. You have fudged truths. You are trying to hide so much information that you are like your character in a simple favor, and I can't unsee it.
Lively once seemed like Hollywood's golden girl, a charismatic star with a pristine reputation and a seemingly perfect marriage to Ryan Reynolds. But as the spotlight drifts to the stories she's desperately trying to bury, it's becoming clear that her carefully crafted image may be more fragile than anyone realized. Intimidation tactics, hidden encounters, and allegations of using serious claims for personal gain all swirl around her like a raging storm. And that's not even the most shocking part. Wait until you hear how far she's gone to keep certain secrets hidden. Stick around till the end because the latest twist is something no one expected.
They actually threaten the press to not talk about that? Blake Lively has had a history of being with her co-stars. Maybe she was trying to hook up with Justin or use that because it does seem to be something that she's done before.
They say a perfect image is hard to maintain, and in Blake Lively's case, that phrase might be taking on an entirely new meaning. Fresh whispers claim that she's been dishing out stern warnings to journalists and content creators who dare to spotlight her rumored missteps, as if one cease-and-desist letter could keep the internet quiet. Ironically, these moves only add fuel to the rumor mill, making folks even more curious about what's lurking behind her radiant smile. And let's be real, for every hush-hush story that gets buried, 10 more seem to pop right back up. It's the classic Streisand effect. Try to hide something, and suddenly everyone's looking for it. The intriguing part is how these alleged intimidation tactics diverge from her sweet, relatable persona. The Blake Lively we see in interviews giggles about her kids, trades witty banter with Ryan Reynolds, and bakes cookies for her movie sets. She's basically the definition of everyone's best friend. Yet, behind the scenes, insiders claim she's wielding enough influence to spook editors at reputable outlets. While no official publication has come forward with a signed confession about being threatened, the rising tide of smaller bloggers and YouTubers speaking up hints at a pattern. Question her carefully curated narrative, and you might find a strongly worded letter from her team waiting in your inbox.
So they wrote in the last paragraph, certain online content creators who frequently parrot the Wayfarer Party's line, at least one of whom just so happens to be a client of Wayfarer's counsel Brian Friedman, have used similar misleading accusations.
Some people are shrugging, saying, "Welcome to Hollywood, baby," pointing out that PR spin has been a staple of the entertainment business for decades. Others sense something bigger, like, this might be the tip of a very deep iceberg. After all, celebrities have used publicists and hush money to manage their reputations since the dawn of tabloids. What's changed is that new media can't be controlled as easily. Even if a big magazine gets scared off, a wave of smaller independent outlets can, and often will, pick up the story and run with it. And for Blake, that shift seems to be a game changer, because if she truly is sending out intimidation letters, it's only stoking more interest in the juicy tales she wants to bury.
A lot of the stuff that this person predicted came true because it was written so long ago. So what does that mean? Was this part of Justin's smear campaign where someone was trying to put some stuff out there? Or was this someone who actually worked on the film? Because some of this stuff seems to imply, yeah, they clearly knew what they were talking about.
One persistent rumor suggests these hush tactics kicked into high gear after a string of messy meltdown stories started making the rounds. Word on the street is that Blake had a meltdown on a movie set, complete with shouting matches and frantic phone calls to her PR team. While none of these reports have been verified, they've circulated enough in entertainment circles to earn a notorious status. Now that mainstream outlets are starting to sniff around, people wonder if that meltdown was the real start of her alleged PR warpath. Either way, the conversation has only gotten louder, and with every new rumor, we inch closer to bigger revelations about how she maneuvers behind closed doors. And here's where it gets interesting. Some say her crackdown on gossip is not just about protecting a squeaky clean legacy, it's about preventing a domino effect. What if one rumor leads to another, and then another, until we stumble upon something truly explosive? It's a question that looms over every threatened journalist and defiant blogger. For now, it's all speculation, but one thing's for sure. The more she tries to extinguish the flames, the brighter they seem to burn. Beyond her marriage to Ryan Reynolds, Blake has been linked officially or unofficially to a roster of notable names. From Penn Badgley, who shared her rise to stardom on Gossip Girl, to a brief but buzzworthy period with Leonardo DiCaprio, her dating timeline reads like a who's who of leading men. Nothing inherently wrong with that. Hollywood is famous for on-set connections. Yet, the chatter among industry insiders is that each romance appeared at times when a strategic career boost wouldn't hurt. Take Penn, for instance. Gossip Girl was the show du jour, with paparazzi camping outside filming locations and fans drooling over any shred of real-life romance. Blake's relationship with Penn gave the show an extra jolt of publicity, when it ended, coincidentally. Around the time Gossip Girl was peaking, Blake's profile was already sky high, and the transition to her next romantic link-up was practically seamless. Then came Leonardo DiCaprio, one of the world's biggest stars, rumored to be enthralled with Blake during a luxurious yacht trip in Cannes. Suddenly, she was being talked about in an entirely new circle of media outlets, catapulting her from TV star to A-list hopeful. Sure, the fling ended abruptly, but conspiracy theorists argue it served its purpose: to place Blake in headlines worldwide. And that's not all. Speculation about other co-stars, like Ryan Gosling, fed the narrative that each new romance conveniently coincided with her next career push. Of course, many celebrities date within their circle, but the way these connections surfaced and vanished makes some folks scratch their heads. Did these relationships organically bloom, or were they part of a larger plan to maintain relevancy in a cutthroat industry? Naturally, only Blake and her rumored flames know the truth. Still, as the saying goes, where there's smoke, there's often some kind of spark. Oddly, these past entanglements never seemed to stick to Blake's public image for too long. Her well-orchestrated PR approach, along with an affable on-camera presence, made it easy for the public to move on. Fans who questioned the authenticity of her love life were written off as petty or jealous. But the accumulation of such rumors has formed an undercurrent that's hard to dismiss. Combined with more recent controversies, this pattern of convenient romances is fueling a broader narrative that Blake may be more shrewd and tactical than her sweetheart persona suggests. Whether she's a master of her own destiny or just caught up in the swirling world of celebrity dating is open to interpretation. But that question, did she genuinely fall head over heels multiple times, or was she playing the Hollywood game, is exactly the kind of speculation that makes her current struggle with the press so riveting. If you spent years carefully crafting a pristine story around your personal and professional life, imagine how threatening it would feel to see people poking holes in it left and right. By now, plenty of fans have heard about Blake's involvement in the film adaptation of It Ends With Us, based on the popular novel by Colleen Hoover. Most were excited to see her in a fresh role, but excitement quickly gave way to controversy when rumors of serious behind-the-scenes drama began swirling. Justin Baldoni, both an actor and director, was steering the ship, or so it seemed. According to unnamed sources, Blake clashed with Justin from the outset, complaining about his approach to storytelling and even his choice of cinematographers. While creative disagreements are normal in any film production, the scuttlebutt is that Blake took things to a whole different level. Some accounts suggest Blake invoked sensitive allegations, or SH claims, not because she was genuinely mistreated, but as a strategic play to wrest control from Justin. These allegations were never made public in a courtroom, nor were they tied to any official documentation. Instead, they were whispered about in the darkest corners of online forums, reminiscent of how hush-hush controversies used to be traded in mid-2000s gossip columns. Whether there's any truth to these claims, or they were a bluff to manipulate power dynamics, remains a heated point of debate. But the fallout was immediate. Justin Baldoni's role in the film reportedly diminished, with some insiders claiming he was forced to step back under a cloud of suspicion. Enter Taylor Swift, a close friend of Blake's whose star power is almost unmatched in the industry. Rumor has it that Taylor offered her own team, specifically her top-notch music video editors, to overhaul the film's post-production. Critics of this move pointed out that editing a 3-minute music video is light years away from working on a full-length film adaptation. Yet, apparently, that didn't matter. Taylor also threatened to pull her music from any promotional materials if the original composer remained on board, citing personal grievances that had nothing to do with the actual movie. The production bowed to these demands, fueling speculation that Blake used Taylor's influence to reshape the film exactly how she wanted it. Things came to a head at a private screening attended by several Hollywood heavyweights. Allegedly, the resulting film was disjointed, with scenes that felt more like a glossy music video than a cohesive story. Key players left the screening scratching their heads, and word leaked out that the tension on set had spilled over into the final product. Rather than a breakthrough role or a triumphant collaboration, the film was shaping up to be a confusing mishmash of clashing egos. Blake, for her part, has stayed tight-lipped in public, leaving her supporters to dismiss the whole fiasco as little more than a rumor. Justin Baldoni's fans argue otherwise, claiming there's fire under all that smoke. For them, Blake's alleged intimidation tactics are consistent with a pattern of controlling the narrative, one she's displayed throughout her career whenever her image was threatened. Whether or not these accusations hold any factual basis remains an open question. But the It Ends With Us drama did something that all her previous scandals couldn't. It put a glaring spotlight on Blake's behind-the-scenes methods at a time when the internet is less forgiving than ever. As the Justin Baldoni controversy simmered, Blake's reputed approach of legal intimidation surfaced yet again. This time, the stakes felt higher. It wasn't just about a relationship timeline or some hush-hush fling. It was about potential misuse of serious accusations for personal gain. Bloggers, social media commentators, and even some traditional journalists started poking around for more details, trying to confirm whether these allegations were real or part of a larger power play. Cue the hush orders, cue the anonymous tips claiming they'd been threatened, cue a wave of viral TikToks dissecting every cryptic clue. In short, the internet was lit up like a 4th of July spectacle, and all eyes were on Blake. Long gone are the days when a well-placed phone call could kill a story entirely. The modern media landscape is a many-headed beast. Take one platform down, and another 5 spring up with screenshots, archived tweets, and personal testimonies. Blake's team, if these rumors hold any water, might be discovering just how daunting it is to control an online narrative. Even celebrity-friendly outlets that once showered her with glowing coverage now face a dilemma. If they skip covering the controversy altogether, they risk looking out of touch. But if they do cover it, they might draw the ire of one of Hollywood's biggest names and potentially lose access to future exclusives. What's more intriguing is how the public has responded. For years, Blake Lively was a near unassailable figure. Charming, fashionable, philanthropic, and unrelentingly polite in interviews. Now, a subset of fans find themselves questioning whether that bubbly personality is just a veneer. Skeptics argue that the real Blake has begun to surface, the one who leverages every tool at her disposal to keep her empire intact. On social media, you'll see debates raging between those who still admire her style and talent and those who feel let down, even betrayed, by the possibility that she's more calculating than she's let on. And it's not just fans who are on the fence. Fellow actors and industry professionals have started distancing themselves, or so the rumor mill claims. It seems the fear of being associated with a potentially scandal-ridden star is strong enough to make some folks back away quietly. All of this has escalated into a standoff. On one side, you have Blake allegedly tightening her grip on her public persona. On the other, you have a decentralized media environment determined to sniff out every last skeleton in her closet. The result? A perfect storm of controversy that seems to intensify each day. Just a few years ago, the idea of Blake being at the center of a swirling scandal might have sounded absurd. Yet here we are, in an era where top-tier celebrities can be toppled, or at least tarnished, by a barrage of online chatter. The question is, can she adapt to this new environment where intimidation often backfires? For now, the legal letters keep flying, and the blog posts keep getting written, feeding a cycle that shows little sign of winding down anytime soon. The deeper you dig into Blake's rumored controversies, the more you wonder if there's another bombshell waiting in the wings. Some suspect hidden NDAs with former assistants or ex-friends who might have juicy stories to share. Others point to 1 or 2 alleged secret projects that vanished from her IMDb page overnight, leaving cryptic footprints in movie databases. Could it be that these projects fell through due to mundane scheduling conflicts, or did they collapse under the weight of more hush-hush drama? One theory floated by fans is that Blake has always been 2 steps ahead of the press. By actively curating which stories gain traction and which vanish into oblivion, she's managed to maintain an untarnished public image for so long. In that sense, these recent controversies might only scratch the surface of what she's truly been up to all these years. Then again, in a business as cutthroat as showbiz, maybe this is just the typical hustle. Most celebrities engage in PR spin after all. But the difference here, some argue, is how seamlessly Blake used to do it, and how spectacularly the facade seems to be unraveling now. Every time a rumor starts to fade, another blogger or insider claims to have new information that ties the puzzle pieces together. Accusations even touch on her philanthropic endeavors, like certain charity appearances, suggesting these moments may be as strategic as they are heartfelt. Some might find that cynically unfair, and others see it as an unavoidable question. When someone's entire brand is under scrutiny, could there be more NDAs, more hush-hush deals, more hidden controversies? Or is this just the conspiracy theory engine running on full steam? One thing's for sure, if the dam truly breaks, we might see revelations that completely alter how the public views her. Whether that moment comes in a week, a month, or never at all, the question alone keeps fans and critics glued to every twist in this unfolding saga. For years, Blake Lively stood atop the Hollywood pyramid as a beloved star with a seemingly perfect life. Her marriage with Ryan Reynolds was enviable, her fashion sense impeccable, and her interviews endlessly charming. She made it all look effortless, like a rom-com heroine come to life. But as more stories emerge about behind-the-scenes drama, intimidation tactics, and possibly well-timed romances, a different picture begins to form, one in which the polished facade may be riddled with cracks she can no longer conceal. This isn't to say Blake is destined for a full-blown downfall. Plenty of celebrities have weathered far worse storms and come out with devoted fan bases still intact. Perhaps the controversies will blow over, the press will move on to a shinier scandal, and Blake will continue posting adorable family photos that rack up millions of likes. Yet something feels different this time. The internet has grown more ferocious, less willing to accept the official story at face value. The more she, or her team, tries to clamp down on rumors, the more those rumors explode into mainstream consciousness, suggesting that the old Hollywood playbook isn't as foolproof as it once was. If the swirl of allegations and hush-hush maneuvers is indeed grounded in truth, then the real question becomes, what else has she been keeping under wraps? Because if there's one thing we've learned, it's that once the dam starts to crack, the floodwater is nearly impossible to contain. Every rumor, every cease and desist, every new piece of gossip becomes another chip in the armor. And with each chip, the perfect vision of Blake Lively as the sweet sunshine and rainbow star begins to dim. Fans who once adored her may find themselves conflicted or even betrayed by the possibility of a calculating persona. Meanwhile, critics grow louder, pointing to the avalanche of stories as proof that where there's this much smoke, there must be some kind of fire. So, is her fairy tale image about to crumble under the weight of too many secrets, or will she pull off a masterstroke of PR and come out shining yet again? In a world where celebrity brand management can collapse overnight, the next chapter of this story is impossible to predict. But one thing's for sure, the eyes of fans, skeptics, and industry insiders alike are locked on Blake Lively, and the revelations just keep on coming. Stay tuned, because the most surprising twist may still be waiting in the wings.